Welcome. This is the second part of the picnic table build video. In the first part I had built the tabletop and attached the legs. The first video is linked to in the info card. After attaching the legs to the tabletop struts, I could cut the beams for the benches to length and attach them to the table legs. These beams also have 60-degree angles at their ends. They support the benches, which consist of 2 boards each. To make attaching them easier, I used 2 pieces of scrap cut to the right length and put them upright. They support the beams before they got finally attached. This also made sure that the beams on both sides had the same height. After I had attached the beams for the benches, I could remove the 2 scrap pieces that helped secure the legs. I then went on to get the dimensions and angles for the slanted struts that would go from the middle strut of the tabletop to each set of legs. I cut the pieces to rough length and then took the measurements and angles directly from the table. After cutting those angles, I had to adjust some more details to make those struts fit better. When the 2 struts were cut, I drilled holes through the bench supports and screwed the slanted struts in place. When screwing a slanted piece, you have to keep in mind that you might need screws of different length to avoid that the screw tips come out at the other end. Next, I prepared the boards that would make up the benches. I attached them with clamps to mark the positions of the holes. These two are slot holes to allow for some shrinking and expanding in the wood of the benches. Then all the boards were screwed in place. After that, I could turn the table on its legs for the first time. One piece was still missing, a strut along the length of the table with a hole in it for the post of a parasol. You can see it here in red. I marked the middle of the beam where the hole would go, and then I used a 45mm Forstner bit. With such a large bit, it's best to use a drill press. The tabletop too needed that 45mm hole in the center. To be on the safe side, I removed the two innermost screws because they'd be very close to the hole and I didn't want to risk drilling into them with the Forstner bit. Later I put them back in. Since I couldn't use the drill press on the tabletop, I clamped the strut with the hole to the tabletop and used the existing hole as a guide for the Forstner bit. Still, it's tricky. This should be done by someone with enough strength to hold the drill and with some experience. You can see that I had to grip the drill very tightly. There's a lot of force when you turn that drill bit. If your Forstner bit is too short, you can drill through with the smaller bit and use that small hole as the center of the Forstner bit when you drill from the other side. I should have used protecting glasses here because the shavings fell down on me. The bottom strut gives the parasol a second point where it is attached, and you want that parasol to be at the right angle to the table. So I used a pole to align the two holes and clamp the strut in place when everything was aligned accurately. To reach that strut more easily, I tilted the table upright and screwed the struts in place. With everything else finished, I could cut a straight edge to the two ends of the table and to the benches. I finally beveled all edges, top and bottom. And that's the finished table. I have two aspects that I will improve in the next builds. I'm going to use thicker boards, at least 35 mm, because the 27 mm ones bend a little when I sit on them. And I'm going to use cap nuts to attach the bench holding struts so that no one hurts themselves on the ends of the carriage bolts. So here are some more images of the table. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd appreciate if you subscribe, and you might like the other woodworking videos on my channel, which you can find in the playlist here on the left. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.